Hello, so nice to be back. I'm Scott. This is our little telly show, What the Fuck America? A range of topics. Last week we left off talking about guns, and not specifically guns, but Second Amendment and erosion of civil rights and so forth. So we're going to talk about some of that. Also, obviously, can't ignore the election, specifically Trump heavy and of subgroups. Yeah, you're like, everybody talks about Trump. Nobody talks about Trump like this. It's going to be filthy and painfully to the point. At any rate, there's that. And then there's, one of those subgroups is this little guy. Oh, and he's so bloody funny. He's hilarious. This kid, well, first of all, it's the new Jon Stewart wannabe guy. But you know what? It didn't really translate so great with that so far, because there's about 14 people watching this show right now, and there's 19 watching his show right now, and it's because he's so bloody sanctimonious. And everything. We're just waiting for the Hillary expose, and I'm going to explain to you why specifically I'm picking on that guy today. At any rate, what the fuck, America?
What the fuck America did to me? Trickery or conspiracy? Good white girl, not Hillary, kidding me. Nothing gonna change my sensibility. Life's a bitch, giving all the chivalry. Overheard in a broke man soliloquy. Bust guns on, break them down lyrically. Ring bells out, talk about liberty. Not tripping, shit got cigarette. Far from the truth in which proximity? Real authenticity, can't rate well when you're false officially. Leave marks, leave parts of history. Who do we charge for the scars initially? Watch your enemies, everybody brother ending up shot Kennedys.
All right, so before we get back to guns, and we are going to cover the guns, you heard my little accent. It was just sort of my Trevor Noah accent. Like I have a few of them. Don't forget got the Bernie Sanders too, which also fairly close to a Richard Nixon one as well. Anyway, point is, but I just wanted to say a couple words about that, and it kind of segues into kind of what's going on with Trump. And it's like, and I just thought about this. I was never a giant Daily Show watcher with Jon Stewart, but you know what? When I did watch it, I had to admit the guy, fucking funny guy, most of the time. I mean, 33 writers, he should be funny, but he's already funny. You know what I mean? He was funny, everything. But of course, when he goes into that fucking voting shack, he's pulling the D. Fine. And skewed his show such, but once in a while threw a little bone to some some Democrat. Oh, how funny was. Meanwhile, the cacophony of comedy and corruption that you could do if you wanted to do that kind of show and could reach a bunch of dum-dums, which is who watched his show, then it'd be interesting if it would work on the right as well. Anyway, so my point is, they bring in this other guy, this Trevor Noah. With and a liberal from another country, and I assume he's supposed to be funny. People have told me he's funny. All right, so he's just hilarious. Again, 13 writers. I have how many? I have like between 5 and 7. We give them lunch and a fucking Subway token. So if they show up, they show up. What are we gonna do? Once in a while, we scrounge them a little bit of weed. But here's the deal. All right, anyway, sorry. I'm just kidding around. Anyway, you know what I mean. It's just basically pandering to a crowd and changing your accent, and all of a sudden you're really into NASCAR or whatever you are. That's kind of what this guy reminds me of. You know what I mean? This Trevor Noah. So specifically, this is the thing about the liberal mind, that he's trying to connect with these people. He just doesn't have the same sort of nut that Jon Stewart had. And I'll give you the example. And I took umbrage to it. I really did. For I don't know what reason, like why I even care about this guy, but because I don't like some of the media treatment of the Trump stuff and the protesters, and this guy's beating up this guy and this guy's and all this stuff. And what they're basically trying to do is the media narrative that's been adopted by the left-wing controlled conglomerate media, government instructed talking points, boom, boom, boom. We skew that way. That's what we do. So, and it's become such an assumption, such a presumptuousness, if you will. Like, if I'm the millennial or whatever who's just gaga over Bernie, or who's, or just a wannabe feminist, and so that's why I want Hillary. She's the woman president, and it's time, doggone it, if you're sticking to that sort of stuff. But at any rate, I mean, anyone, reasonably honest, you have to agree there's sort of a press tilt. They're trying to form a narrative. Meanwhile, in the States, Trump is just crushing ass, like a bum on a ham sandwich, So, but yet we're to hear that everyone's so outraged with all this stuff. There's protesting and they're punching guys in the face. Anyway, so here's what Trevor Noah said, and I'm obviously paraphrasing. I think, we tried to buy the footage off of them for our show, but they wanted so much money for us to license it, so I'll just paraphrase. Basically, he was talking to what he perceives as his liberal minions, left to him by the great Jon Stewart. Meanwhile, most of them have either aged up and gotten a husband or a wife, or they don't give a shit because you're not as funny as Jon Stewart. But aside from all that, basically what the premise was that, listen, people, I have to tell you, I can't help but lapse into my bad accent. I have to tell you that, yes, you're right to protest, and you have that right. You have that right to protest. But when you go to a Trump protest and you protest like a protester, remember, because you like to protest and you're still a protester, since you do that, and then you make a fool of yourself and you do something stupid and Trump's goons have to beat you up, then what that really makes you is what he's saying that you are and that you're capable of being. So let me review. What he's saying is, this guy, to his liberal minions, most of whom have gone home, he's saying, don't be so obvious, you idiots. The reason that they think of you like this is because you're like this. So when you're around them, don't be so much like this, because then you get punched in the face. Like, has to be this whole go around the horn thing, and you have to be like, wait a minute, I thought I was supposed to be for free speech. Yes, that's right, you are. Well then, why can't Donald Trump say whatever he wants to his minions? What? Oh, shit. Well, because he's saying hate speech, that's why. Oh. So hate speech is illegal, and then who decides what's hate speech? You see, I better get a bit confused. Anyway, that's why the kid's got no ratings. Fuck that guy. We'll get more into Trump later.
Bimbo, dog.
Fat pig.
Real quotes from Donald Trump about women.
A person who is very flat-chested is very hard to be a 10.
I'd look her right in that fat, ugly face of hers.
Look at that face. Would anyone vote for that?
She had the height, she had the beauty. She was crazy, but these are minor details.
I like kids. I mean, I won't do anything to take care of them. I'll supply funds, and she'll take care of the kids.
You know, it really doesn't matter what they write, as long as you've got a young and beautiful piece of ass.
That must be a pretty picture, you dropping to your knees.
There was blood coming out of her eyes. Blood coming out of her... wherever.
Women. You have to treat them like
This is how Donald Trump talks about our mothers, our sisters,
our daughters.
All right, so basically the gist of it is, oh God, I'm just cracking myself up. The gist of it is, if you let dum-dums think out loud too much, let that sink in for a second. If you're a dum-dum and you're allowed to kind of think out loud, which I kind of equate with like act out and stuff. In other words, if you're easily controlled, I'm so impressionable. Oh, what? Yeah, yes, we will go to the Trump rally and disrupt them. You know, anyway, so that's all I'm saying. Whatever. You know, where's the, just kind of whatever. All right, so, but where Trump is concerned, I just die over the fact that, like, his own party well, the guy who he called a stiff, who I think never got over it, this Mitt Romney's kid, rumored to hear to his super PAC to have paid for that ad that we just saw. You know, and let's just talk about the ad, because this is where Hillary's going to go, and I'll tell you, Trump. I'm thinking Hillary, Shrump, Shrill, Hillary, Billary, Shrumpery. Speaking of which, what's that shrubbery look like on Hill? Woofa. Anyways, the war, you know, they're going to portray Trump as this misogynist guy, and he's already a racist guy. If you really look at what he says, I don't know. I have a hard time believing the guy's a racist, and I know he loves women, this guy. And most of the stuff that he says, listen, I got to be honest with you. Like when 20 ugly women in a row on the commercial say his quotes, some of them are kind of fucking funny. Some of those I have said, and some I'm going to begin to incorporate into my own style. None of them did I take as, you know, a demonstration of hatred for women. So, anyway, but along those same lines, this is putting out an ad like that, like it costs them, you know, it's beautifully done, and I don't know who those ladies are, but they're beauties. They got them at whatever kennel they got them at. But anyways, they made a beautiful ad there, but who's it going to sway? If you're already a Trump supporter, you're not going to be like, wow, that seals it. I knew I thought something about him. No, you're already in there. If you're not a Trump supporter, it doesn't matter. You ain't voting for him anyway. So exactly, is that people are on the fence? Oh, really? It's either Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton. I mean, there's not, you know, you're going to be on, by this point in time, you're still deciding in your own party. And then how stupid you are, depending on your point of view, which lever you're going to hold your nose and pull the thing. Hilarious. The dum-dums thinking out loud, and you know who can be reached and what have you. But I don't know, the Trump war on women thing is kind of funny. I don't think they're going to really be able to go down that. I don't think, and if it's Hillary and it's Don, I don't think they're really going to be able to go with that, how misogynist Don is with women. I mean, let's face it, with all the fucking unwed mothers in the world and single fathers out there fucking nutting everybody up, you know, the Don's a pretty good parent. He's at least paying all his shit. No lawsuits with this guy with that. Point is, I think if it goes toe-to-toe Hillary with Don, she got terrible advisors if she says, go after Donald's record. Really? Donald's record with women? Well, let's talk about your record with men, for example. Let's start with your husband, the fornicator in chief. Yeah, and the countless, you know, the war room to deal with the fucking bimbo eruptions. You know, Trump will shred her like a fine angel hair pasta. Anyway, it got me to thinking, you know, like the fact that that someone thinks that some group of you know, smart, I'm sure creative people, you know, came together with that ad and got all those women to do it and scripted it, and I hear the message. Everybody, you can't miss that message. But again, who's that? You know, who's exactly the message to? And I think it's a misconception on their part exactly who they're talking to. You know what I mean? Like, they think they're talking to one group, and that group's saying, what? You know, so this is what the whole, I think this is what the whole Trump, you know, phenomenon, if you will, and Bernie phenomenon too. Bernie's more the dum-dums, you know, but still. Anyway, so it led me to think, you know, that they thought that they could reach a certain amount of people, but I don't think they can, because my girlfriend, for example, she's not going to vote for Hillary just because Hillary's a woman. I mean, I do know some nuts, usually most older ones, that, just any Democrat they're going to vote for. But I mean, I just there's not this really groundswell of women, yeah, my opinion, of course, just uprising against men. I think generally girls, the pretty ones, are the ones who are sweet or whatever they are, and just like guys, I mean, I don't go in, in a hoodie with my nose sticking out, and smelling like the fucking, an Egyptian tiger boy, Carrie, my point is, at least I know my girl, hey, she doesn't mind the, let's say the accoutrements that being a female gives to her. However, hates being yelled at construction sites just like everybody else. So it's kind of like a trade-off, you know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. So, but there's not this groundswell of women who are so furious because the men are awful. I don't know. I mean, most girls, women, I have a daughter, I have all kinds of them. Not all kinds of daughters. I know tons of women. Point is, there's not this groundswell. Like most, I mean, everybody suffers some, I don't want to call it humiliation. Everybody's got a case-by-case basis. But in general, the United States, I'm coming back to who are they reaching with this ad? I mean, most people are like, I don't know what's going on. Does Donald Trump really hate that way? And because there's this assumption that these people are down on men, and that's why I feel like a lot of these, say, television shows and whatnot, commercials, it's always just like the goofy dad. Oh, the dad's so goofy. Okay. We've played along for a while, and it's become more and more and more, and it's become the chickification of men, if you will. But I'm going to be honest with you. Most women I know, they want a fucking sweaty man at the end of the day. They want him to go ahead and take a shower, but they want a guy who's going to get under the sink and fix that toilet rather than, wait a minute, isn't there... Well, I'm an IT professional, honey, so what do you want me to do under the sink? And the whole effeminate thing, too, going on. I know, I threw that in there, sorry. But, because that's what it feels like to me, I think, maybe even a little hair pulling once in a while, but you know what I'm saying. Don't want this this androgynous man who, any more than men want, sort of, well, is that a man or is that a fella, So anyway, so I don't really feel like there's that much of a ground. I mean, I'll give you some examples. How about the guy who's how about the guy in the Push It Real Good commercial, right? There's these ladies who appear in the yard and now he just wants to fit in because he's such a geek and he has to drop his daughter off 2 blocks from school and he's just the worst, He's now prancing in the yard. Okay, I'm pushing it real good. I mean, okay, that's pretty, and I should just be fun about it, and I am hopefully being fun about it. But, the portrayal of what you really would do is there's these 2 giant ladies on your lawn. You'd be like, whoa, get the fuck out of my yard. What are you doing here? But, this guy's just trying to fit in and whatnot. The other one, and they're all nice, whatever, but, in good spirit, but you just see the portrayal, how there's just a constant erosion, toward the permissiveness of the whole thing, and now we have, So anyway, there's no war on women. That's basically the gist. All right, so I'm saying, we're talking about guns. Guns for me, or the attempted confiscation thereof, and you seem like a crazy extremist. That's why I keep bringing it up. You create some civil unrest, and there's so many shootings and whatnot, and this and that, and it just seems like gun is the problem. But, so now what do? We make moves to confiscate the guns. And as you look down history, any regimes that have wanted to become dictatorships They confiscate the guns. Castro, Hitler, Stalin. Hey, let's keep going on and on. So that's been my beef about it. And like, these little incremental situations and these, the relentless assaults on the Second Amendment and whatnot. And so I'd like to talk about guns, but tonight, I don't know. I just really kind of wasn't feeling guns. But we have a caller named Bill on the line who does want to bring us home and talk about guns and some of the rules of the civil society. Go ahead, Bill.
Well, hi, Scott. I just want to say I'm a big fan of the show. I'm happy to see something like this on the air. So, one thing I want to say is that the heavy leftist agenda is very dangerous to this country. The country doesn't realize in a whole, but they're trying to get rid of guns. They're trying to portray them as the enemy, when in reality, car accidents, heroin overdoses, and suicides are way more a cause of death than any of that. And we don't see Obama out there crying about those people. How about the fact that people are getting hooked on pharmaceutical drugs and then turn to heroin, and the heroin's all coming over the border from Mexico.
So wait, Bill, are you? So I think I have the answer to this. Then you've made it clear to me. So the gun violence is minuscule in comparison to some other methods of death. So here's what we do: we just outlaw all of those things, folks. Now on, no more heroin. That's outlawed. There's also no more. What were the other things? Oh, the cars. Done.
Well, some of the gun violence is due to the heroin trade.
What about the car trade, though? What about the car trade? Are people shooting each other in cars and then crashing them? What's going on exactly? I'm just kidding, of course. I'm kidding. But we have to outlaw what you're saying is we have to outlaw cars and everything else that happens, that accidental death. How about heart attacks? Why would we continue to have those be legal? We need to get rid of heart disease, yes or no?
Yes.
All right. But anyway, kidding aside, tell me your why would the left wing, and I don't disagree with you by any stretch of the imagination, why would the left wing embrace a culture of because the problem is that idiots somehow get guns, utter complete blooming dum-dums, and guess what? Sometimes they think out loud, but if you're extra dum-dum, you think out loud with your gun. Anyway, Bill, go ahead. So why would the left want to perpetuate this eventual confiscation of the guns? Because, people are going to say your conspiracy theory. Oh, well, that's what you're saying. They're taking all the guns. Yeah, they fucking do. That's what they do. They take the guns, they take the fucking guns, and then you can't defend yourself against whomever. Maybe the government. Maybe it's not an external intruder. Maybe it's the government itself. Anyway, sorry, Bill. Go back to what you were saying.
Well, I mean, this is why I like your show. You pretty much said it.
Why? Because I'm utterly.
They want to control people. Well, no, because they want to control people, and you can't have a controlled society when over half the citizens are armed, and that doesn't make for a government that can control. And as far as the pharmaceutical companies are in cahoots with the government, and they're allowed to get all these people addicted to the drugs and addicted to the heroin. It's all connected because they want those people pretty much dumbed down and sedated so that they're not able to pretty much have consciousness about what's going on with the government.
All right. That's. Do you have any of the numbers of any of those pharmaceutical guys that could dumb everybody down? No, I'm just kidding. You know what?
I do have some numbers. I do.
Really?
I've been researching this for a while. Let me just please say these numbers. Here
Negative.
They are. Quickly.
No.
Quickly.
No. Hold on one second. You don't need we'll take Bill's numbers if he's really going to give us them to us. But you know what? You don't really need drugs to be dumbed down. What you need to do is you need to be involved in the United States public school system, because at that point, you, from a very early age, if the Marxist, Alinskyite, fellow traveler, I think we know who we're talking about, don't we? If they have their way, it's a long slog through the institutions of America. And let me tell you a few of those institutions. One is marriage. That's one. But the big one is education. Why? Because much like the Scotty doctrine that we discussed in the last episode, where anyone 5 or under who has had no time to have any hate ingrained upon him or her is welcome in the United States. And that's all. Because we don't have to unteach you any shit. We're just going to teach you the real shit. When I learned how to play guitar, it was terrible. I sort of taught myself, and then I saw some guys who really knew how to do it, and I'm like, ugh. So first I had to unlearn my shit way and learn the real way. So anyway, sorry, Bill. I got off the subject a little bit there, but anyway, wrap it up.
Scotty, you pretty much say everything that I was trying to say, and I guess that's why I like the show so much. I appreciate the fact that we share some good views, right. And keep on trumpeting. I mean, for the Second Amendment, I appreciate this. I mean, I could talk all day like this.
You sound like you could, but you know what? I don't really give a shit about guns in and of itself. You could just as well say the Second Amendment was all about ping pong paddles. And I would be like, you know what? No. I don't care about ping pong paddle. Well, I do like ping pong. Yeah, I get the analogy. But there's a constant assault on ping pong paddles. My feathers would be up. Okay? This is not about guns. This could be about any single thing. This is about control of the people, as Bill here correctly said. So I want to thank you very much for your call, Bill. Take it easy and have a good day. So, another tremendous show, our second show. Once again, I'm honored to be here, to be able to talk to you. This is to my son, to all our sons, and to all the children of the world. And also to our producer, Phil. And can't wait to see you next week. Follow us on Facebook. We're on Twitter. You can email us maybe at the email address right here. And don't ever want to forget, we love you.
What the fuck America did to me? Trickery or conspiracy? Good white girl, not Hillary, kidding me. Nothing gonna change my sensibility. Life's a bitch, give it all the chivalry. Overheard in a broke man's soliloquy. Buzz guns on, break them down lyrically. Ring bells, I'm talking about liberty. Not tripping, shit got cigarette. Far from the truth in which proximity? Real authenticity, can't rate well when you're false officially. Leave marks, me parts of history. Who do we charge for the scars initially? Watch your enemies, everybody.